Alright, so I finally morphed into this really strange redstone ore kind of looking creature that's always going to be staring down and to the right. So that's my first announcement. The second announcement is that we're going to be building a really simple up-down elevator that's even simpler than the version I've shown you before. This one is less prone to errors and issues. You can run it at any speed and it's not gonna break, it's not gonna stop midway, and it's not gonna reverse and start going the wrong direction. And one more quick thing before we get started on building the elevators is this thing, which I wanted to give you a sneak peek of it. It's a device that I'm working on for one of my future videos. I wish I could say it's the next video, but there's a lot more work left here. And if you are curious to know what this is, you might want to check out that video when it comes out. Okay, so now we're going to start working on the elevator, and if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that this is going to be the same drill for the most part, and if you haven't, don't worry about it, it's going to be extremely simple. Now we're going to place a floor block right here, and this is where the elevator is going to land essentially, and I'm going to set my floors to be 3 blocks high, although I highly doubt that anybody's floors are going to be this short. Now, I made a mistake right here. We want to put 3 blocks and then just 1 block in between where the elevator floor is going to sit. And I'm just going to do 3 or 4 floors here. Let's do 4. So now we have the whole structure, and now we want to decide where the elevator is gonna sit. Now, since this is the top floor, we're just going to put the rope pulley here. Or if you'd rather not have it stick out and be visible on the front, you can just place a chassis, which we're going to use in a second anyway, and then you can place the rope pulley here. And now you can use chassis to build the elevator floor. Now, as you can see, I made a mistake already. This is too high up. The elevator floor has to be on this level. And usually I would cut this part out of the video, but I figured since I'm building it right here, you might see some of these issues, and so you can avoid them. Like me having a really difficult time placing the chassis. So let's place these first, and you can make them as big as you'd like because this is the elevator floor. You can have them wrap around, and I've used a lot of super glue in my previous builds, so this one is not going to use any super glue, and that's going to be really nice. So like I said, if you want to hide the rope pulley, you can have it here. You can even loop around and put it in the back, or take it as far back as you'd like, because I think the limit for the rope pulley is 2,000 blocks or something like this, so you'll never have an issue if you want to hide it somewhere. So now that we have this is pretty much the basic design. Let's give it a quick test. I'm gonna grab a motor and see that this sticks around. I don't remember if we're gonna need slime or not. So let's grab this thing real quick. We're gonna place it here. I guess we need to go the other way around. And as you'll see, everything is moving very nicely. So let's bring everything back. And we don't need this motor right now. So with this part completed, let's move on to setting up the sequenced gear shifts. Okay, so now we're right behind the elevator, and we're going to start connecting our shafts and sequenced gear shifts to the pulley. So what we need to do is we're going to place a shaft here, and then we're going to make it 4 long, and then we're going to place another one that is 3 long here, and we're going to break these 2 and that one because we don't need it. And I'm just basically trying to save time here. We're going to connect these 2 with belts, and we're going to place 2 sequenced gear shifts just like this. And this is pretty much everything that needs to be done here. When you right click a sequence gear shifts, if you haven't seen, if you don't know how to use these, you're gonna see a menu right here, and you can change this thing to any of a number of commands, and you can have more than one command by hovering here over the end and choosing the next command. And these commands include waits in between that you can have. You can move back, forward, you can move at double speed, so there are a bunch of things that you can do. But for this tutorial, we're only going to do one step, and it's going to be the second type of command, which it says turn to move piston, pulley, or gantry. So from its name, you can tell what it does. And it's going to say piston once you make that selection. Now, since our floors are 3 blocks tall and then there's 1 block in between, we're going to set this to 4 meters, and we're going to leave it going out. Now, we're going to set the other one to exactly the same thing, except with the arrow pointing the other way. And at this stage, we really don't know which one is going up or down, but that doesn't matter. And with that, you can connect a motor, which could be anything. It could be something powered by a water wheel or any source, because the speed doesn't matter, since the sequence gear shifts are going to take care of how long this thing goes. So unlike my first design that I showed you here, this one is going to work no matter what speed it's running at. And now we can go ahead and start setting up the buttons. So the idea is to have an up and down button for each one of these floors, and if you had one floor, then you can still use this design and have the distance on the sequence gear shift just be the total distance. Now I want you to note that on the top floor, wherever we stop the elevator, we want to have the down button. So there's only one down button, but we want to have it on the top block here, not the second one where it would normally belong, because if we have it here, it's going to start interfering with some of the redstone links around here, and we don't want that to happen. So with that, we have all the buttons set up, and now it's time to set up the redstone links. So we'll just move over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to place one. You're going to have to, and if you're playing survival, you're just going to have to crouch and place this. And if you're flying in creative, you just want to hold place and space and crouch. And that's going to let you do this. So now we're going to put some frequencies in here, whatever they are, as long as they're different. So let's get some saplings. We're going to use that as long as they're different enough to be distinguishable. And these are very distinguishable. And now we're going to set these to receive mode. And for that, you want to do exactly the same thing we did for placing it. So you hold space and crouch if you're in creative and flying, and you can just crouch to do it in survival mode. So now we're completely done. We're going to want to copy these. Again, this is another creative thing where you can basically just copy this by holding Control and the middle mouse button, and I can copy this with the frequencies. But if you're playing survival, then you're just going to have to set the frequencies on several redstone links, as you're going to see in a second. First, we need to find the down button. So let's place one of these guys here. This is the green one, and we're going to press the button, and we lucked out. This is the down button. So we're going to place this on every down button here. We're going to place it here, and we're going to place it here and here. And then we're going to place the other one here, and here, and here. And we don't need it up there because there's no up button. So now we should be all done. If I press the down arrow, down button, should send me down one floor. Now any of the up buttons should work, whether it's that one or this one or the one on the bottom floor, but let's try it out. And it looks like it's working. I mentioned at the beginning that we're using chassis this time and not using any super glue, and that's actually really huge and useful because you can now just add whatever you want here. You can make this into an entire house and move it for all I care. Honestly, there's so much that can be done here with chassis, because when you have super glue, you're creating all these entities, so the bigger it is, the more problematic it is. And that was one of the things I realized very early on after I released that video, and I've always wanted to correct it. So definitely make sure you're using these chassis and not any glue or anything like that. And all you need to do is grab a slime ball and right click it here, and you can attach anything to this block. And if you want to attach something to the bottom, you can click it from here, or you can double click it to make both sides sticky from just one end, because sometimes you need that. If you already built something and you forgot to make it sticky, you can just double click it from the other side, and that's going to fix it for you. And I know this wasn't a chassis tutorial, but I think this is a pretty nifty little tip. Now here's an interesting little fact about this elevator, is that obviously you can just press the down button while standing here and keep pressing it to call the elevator. So if you want to make this look more realistic, you can maybe set the buttons somewhere out here and you can just keep pressing it. Another thing you can do is you can set up a third sequence gear shift with a really large number of blocks to move. So it's more than the maximum number of blocks, or just the maximum number, so you can always call it all the way down or all the way up. But here's a really interesting thing that I discovered, is that if you stand here, and let me switch to survival mode, and now that we're in survival, I can press it and I can see that it goes through me, and then if I just jump, and I find myself on top of it. So it doesn't look like it's dangerous at all. Actually, let's do it without jumping. And let's see if it hurts. Okay, so I just made a few of these blocks sticky, and I'm also in survival now, so that's an issue. But let's test this, and then we'll fix that. What are we doing? So yeah, I'm gonna press this, and I'm just gonna stop without doing anything and see if it hurts me. It doesn't look like it hurt me. Am I underground? Let me switch my camera. Okay, so I'm buried here. I'm in survival, so... Oh, forgot how weird this thing looks. But yeah, I can just jump and I'm up here. And I don't know if this is gonna stay the way it is, but it looks like, you know, you can't die, so you can always call it while you're under it. And now let me switch back to creative so I can... because I don't have any tools. So we can get rid of these so that everything is perfect. So that's it for the elevator for today. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and that this elevator is going to be useful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And don't forget to check out the video for that machine when it comes out. But for now, I want to say thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.